Hello, God bless you. This is a quick one. Avoid wasted time. Avoid wasted time. Most of my videos, I speak so much about being in God's perfect will. You see, we have the permissive will of God, we have the good will of God, and we have the perfect will of God. Growing up, I was very careful about being in God's perfect will. And I want to encourage you. I want to tell you something. You see, I have had so many people say this. They say, oh, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay for you to make mistakes so you can learn. I am not against that. I am not against the fact that people will make mistakes. But my concern is the lost time, the wasted time, and the scars and the pain and the regrets and the years of recovery you have to go through when you make those mistakes. Pay attention to what I just said. It's not about telling people, because some of us, we are comfortable with making mistakes. You see, there are two ways you can learn. You can learn through wisdom, through the wisdom of God, or through mistakes, through painful mistakes. There are people that will never listen. They will never listen to you. They will never take counsel. They will never take advice until they make a very fatal mistake. Then they will learn. Then there are people that will simply listen. They have listening ear. They have a humble heart. They will pay attention. They will listen, and they will learn. So these are the two ways we learn. The Bible said, I have presented before you, I have placed before you life and death. Then God said, choose life so that you may live. All right. So he said, I placed before you choices. You choose life and death. You make your own choice. And I know most people, even Christians, they believe that the only way they can learn is by making mistakes. That it's okay for them to learn by making mistakes. And there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing is that you are going to lose time. I want you to think about wasted time. Think about the time you wasted. Think about the lost time. Think about lost energy. Think about lost resources. You are going into a business and you are supposed to seek the face of God and know if that business is the will of God for you. But you say, no, let me go into it even if I fail. Well, it is fine. It's your choice. All right. The thing is that when you go into it and you fail, you wasted time, you wasted energy, right? You wasted resources that you could have used for something else. You are going to marry somebody and the red flags are all over the place that this is not the will of God for you. But you say, well, let me just go into it. Like somebody told me, I met a young man one time who was going to get married. He said, let me just go into it. Whatever I see in it, I will take. And I looked at him. I say, in my mind, I'm like, really? You made the most important decision in your life blindly. You say, let me just go into it. Whatever I see in it, I will take. And he's seeing something. He's seeing some things already. So I just want to tell you, oh my God, some people will never learn. So there are people that will never listen until they make a mistake. Until they make a mistake that will hurt them, a mistake that will destroy their image, a mistake that will take all their resources, a mistake that will give them a scar, a mark, a baggage. Will God forgive us? Of course, God will forgive. He's a gracious God. He's a merciful God. I preach grace, but I don't preach irresponsible grace. I don't preach a grace that makes God totally responsible for the outcome of my life. I don't preach that kind of grace. I don't tell people, go ahead, do whatever you want to do. God will forgive you. That's not the grace of God. See, a grace without restriction is madness. It's total madness. Grace without discipline is total madness. And that is not the kind of grace the Bible is talking about. All right. So I just want to say this, especially for those of us who feel or who believe that it's all right for you to learn by making mistakes. You're about to go into school and you don't pray to know the course, the right course or profession for you. You say, well, let me just start. And you are taking a loan, right? You're going to take a loan. You say, okay, or you're going to pay out of pocket. Now you say, let me just start. If it doesn't work, I would switch to another course. Think about the wasted years. How many years how old are you? That's the question. Ask yourself. See, when I take decisions, I calculate my age. I take a pen and I calculate my age before I take a decision. All right? Before I take any decision, I sit down with a pen and I calculate my age against that decision. You don't just take a decision. You don't just wake up one morning and pack your load and move to another state without praying to know if that is the will of God for you, if it's good for your wife and your children. You just relocate. You just leave your job and get another job. You are not praying to find out, is this the job for me? Let me tell you how I pray before I close this video. Before I take a decision, me and God, we will spend time. You see how the Bible said that Jacob wrestled with a man, that Jacob fought with somebody. He fought with an angel. That's how I fight with God. That's how I will make sure, if there's a word like that, I will make sure that this is God. Like I will stay on my knees. I will spend my time. I will wait, and I will wait. If it's a life, if it's a life decision, there is what we call defining decisions. There are decisions that affect destiny. It will affect your spouse. It will affect your children. It will affect your family. It will affect your health. It will affect everything about you. It will affect your finances. You don't just get up and take that kind of decision. You sit down and you think and you pray and you make sure that this is the right decision to take. It is going to affect everybody in your family. Marrying the wrong person will affect your family. It will affect your parents. It will affect it will affect everybody, even your siblings. Let me tell you something. When you enter the wrong marriage, time will come that you start calling your siblings and you start seeking for counseling. You start disturbing everybody. You start disturbing your pastor for counseling. All right? When you jump into the wrong business and you waste money, you start begging for money. You become a burden to somebody. You don't just wake up and you tell yourself, I'm traveling out of this country. You don't just make that kind of decision. You got to think, what do I stand to lose? So many things are at stake. Things are at stake. You don't just take any decision because you can take it because you are of age. You don't marry because you're of age. You don't marry because you're of age. Age does not determine the time for you to get married. Understand that. You don't marry because you are 35 years or 40 years. You got to think, the person that is coming for you, is this the right person for me? Have I prayed? What is God saying? What are important people in my life saying? What is my pastor saying? What are my mentors saying? What is my parents saying? Or my parents, what are they saying? My siblings, my friends, what are they saying about this person? You don't just get up and get a job. Is this job good for you? Would that job allow you to serve God? So I just say, let me make this video because, avoid wasted time. You are not getting younger. Avoid wasted time. Think of your age before you take a decision. You are entering into a relationship and the man has not told you this is the plan. And you are there with him. He's sleeping with you. Okay, what is the plan? Where are we going? When are you going to see my parents? When are you going to pay my bride price? When am I going to wear the engagement ring? When are you taking me to the altar? He's not ready to say all this, and you are there with him, living with him, sleeping with him, messing up with your life, wasting your time. By the time you're 30 years, you become a prayer point. Why are you wasting time? You cannot recover time. And there are mistakes you make. You cannot I'm sorry to say this, and I'm sorry to say it. There are mistakes that will follow you into your destiny. Period. There are mistakes you make, it will follow you for the rest of your life. It becomes a baggage. It becomes like a handbag that will follow you everywhere. Wherever you go, that mistake is just with you. And people keep reminding you of that mistake. It's just there on your profile. It's just there on your record. You don't want all that. All right? The Bible said in the book of Proverbs 3 verse 5, he said, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. Why wouldn't you pray to seek the face of God before you take a decision? Why not think about your children? Why not think about your wife or your husband? You don't just get up and you invest your money somewhere. You don't just get up and you say, oh, I'm switching from this job. You just leave your job and you jump into another profession without prayers, without thinking, without seeking the counsel of people around you. It doesn't work like that. Think of wasted time. What time, how many years are you going to waste because of this mistake? If you stay in a marriage that is not in God's will for you, if that marriage is not the perfect will of God for you, think of the wasted years you are going to experience, wasted resources. Some people stay in a bad marriage and they begin to have depression, anxieties. Some die young. Is that what you're going to do with your life? So before you take a decision, think of the consequences. Think of the time you're going to waste. Think of the time you're going to waste. Think of people involved. There is an adage in Igbo that said, "Ometutanya, ometutimi," right? When it touches the eyes, it touches the nose. So think how many people you are going to mess up because of that, your decision. A decision that will involve your spouse, involve your children, involve probably your siblings. How are you going to take that kind of decision? You don't just wake up and take it. You pray and you think and you reason and you ask questions before you take that decision, and avoid wasted time. Will God forgive you if you make mistakes? Yes. But did you waste time? Yes, you wasted time. You wasted energy. You wasted your resources in that error. And sometimes, for the rest of your life, the scars are there all over. You don't want all that. Avoid that.